In the heart of a bustling city, Sarah stood before the Aljarai de Europa Hotel, renowned for its ancient history and luxurious design. Her new journalistic mission required her to spend several days here documenting the hotel's story and its fascinating history. Little did she know that the mystery she sought would unfold far beyond her imagination. Ahmad, the hotel manager, greeted her with a broad smile that did not reach his eyes. He was a man in his late 40s, dressed in an elegant suit, but something in his gaze hinted at tension. He handed her the key to her room on the 5th floor, assuring her that her stay would be pleasant and quiet. Sarah ascended to her room on the 5th floor. The hallway was long and dark, made eerier by old paintings of strange faces. She felt an unexplained chill, despite the hotel seeming warm from the outside. She tried to ignore the feeling, attributing it to travel fatigue. The room was spacious and elegant but carried the aura of the past. Classic furniture, heavy velvet curtains, and a large mirror that reflected her pale image. She opened the window to let in fresh air but still felt uneasy. She began unpacking, trying to distract herself from the strange feeling haunting her. After settling in, Sarah took out her notebook and began jotting down ideas. She tried to focus on her mission, but something drew her attention to the ceiling. Had she heard a sound? Perhaps it was just the old hotel's noises, or her imagination acting up due to the horror story she'd come to write about. In the middle of the night, Sarah woke to a strange sound, like a faint creak, and something moving slowly. She looked toward the door and saw it slightly ajar, with dim light seeping in from the hallway. She was certain she'd locked it tightly before sleeping. A shiver ran down her spine. Heart pounding, Sarah got out of bed. All her senses were alert. She approached the partially open door slowly, trying not to make a sound. Her hand trembled as she reached for the cold doorknob. Was someone outside? Or had the wind opened the door? Sarah opened the door fully. The hallway was completely empty. No one was there. Yet the air felt heavy, and an invisible presence lingered. She quickly closed the door, making sure to lock it securely this time. She returned to bed, but sleep eluded her. She was certain what happened wasn't mere imagination. The next morning, Sarah went down for breakfast. She was exhausted, having not slept all night. She noticed Fatima, the receptionist, who looked pale and avoided eye contact. Sarah sensed Fatima was hiding something about the hotel. After breakfast, Sarah approached the reception desk. "Good morning, Fatima. Is everything all right?" she asked. Fatima seemed nervous, glancing around fearfully before whispering, "Everything is fine, Miss Sarah." Sarah wasn't convinced and decided to seek answers herself. Sarah returned to her room, but the quiet didn't last. She began hearing faint whispers, voices speaking from within the walls. The words were unclear but enough to terrify her. Was she imagining things? Or was the hotel beginning to reveal its secrets? Suddenly, the glass of water on the bedside table shook violently and shattered. At the same moment, the room lights flickered intermittently before plunging into darkness. Sarah screamed, but her voice choked in her throat. Darkness swallowed the room, and she felt a cold presence enveloping her. Panicking, Sarah grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight. It lit the room, but the darkness was thick. As she moved the light, she saw a strange shadow dart past her like a ghost. It vanished as quickly as it appeared. Sarah collapsed in a corner of the room, hugging her knees and crying helplessly. She could no longer deny what was happening. This hotel was not ordinary, and something sinister lurked in its walls. She felt despair but resolved not to surrender. She had to uncover the truth, no matter how horrifying. The next morning, after another sleepless night, Sarah decided to begin her search. She went to the hotel's neglected library, filled with old books. She found a tattered yellow-paged book about the hotel's history and began reading. Every word revealed part of the mystery. Sarah found an old photo in the book showing a happy family standing in front of the hotel. The photo dated back to the 1950s, depicting a man, a woman, and 2 children. But upon closer inspection, she noticed something strange. A shadow enveloping the family with no clear source. Sarah compared the old photo with a recent one of the hotel on her phone. She noticed discrepancies. A window present in the old photo was missing in the new one. Was this a construction error or something else? Sarah decided to speak to Fatima again. This time Fatima was more open. She spoke softly about the hotel's history and old stories of a family murdered there decades ago. Her eyes were sad, as if carrying a heavy secret. Sarah returned to the 5th floor. She noticed one room with its door tightly shut, as if abandoned. As she approached it, she felt an intense cold, and the air around her seemed to freeze. While examining the door, Sarah noticed something under the hallway rug. An old rusty key with a strange engraving. Could it unlock the abandoned room? Her heart raced. She was on the verge of uncovering the hotel's secret. Hands trembling, Sarah inserted the key into the lock. A faint click sounded, and the door opened slowly. The room was dark and covered in dust, but scattered on the floor were children's toys. Doll toy cars, as if left behind mid-play. An icy chill gripped her, and unseen eyes watched her. On a small table in the corner, Sarah found an old journal written in a child's handwriting, with drawings of ghosts. The words were simple but conveyed a horrifying message. They are here. Don't go. As Sarah stood in the center of the room, she felt ghosts surrounding her. Toys began moving on their own, whispers grew louder, and she heard names, children's laughter, and a woman sobbing. She realized these were the spirits of the murdered family, and they wanted something from her. Sarah tried to flee, but the door slammed shut behind her. Darkness swallowed her, and she heard screams, not hers but those of children and a woman. Cold hands touched her. The ghosts were trying to grab her. Sarah collapsed to the floor, surrounded by transparent ghosts of children and a woman. Their faces were sad and desperate. They didn't want to harm her, they wanted help. Sarah realized they were trapped in the hotel, longing for freedom. Sarah spoke to the ghosts, trying to understand. They pointed to an old photo on the wall, the same family from the book. She understood. They wanted her to expose the truth behind their murder. Sarah left the abandoned room, determined. She headed straight to the office of Ahmad, the hotel manager. She was sure he knew more than he admitted. Sarah entered Ahmad's office without knocking. He sat behind his cluttered desk, tense and fearful. "You know what happened to that family, don't you?" she asked firmly. Ahmad avoided her gaze, but his silence answered. Under Sarah's pressure, Ahmad broke down and confessed. His father had killed the family to seize the hotel. Ahmad was too young at the time but carried the secret his whole life. He was remorseful and afraid but could do nothing to free the trapped spirits. Sarah decided to help the ghosts find peace. She asked Ahmad to accompany her to the abandoned room. As they walked, the ghosts appeared around them, seeking justice. The hallway darkened as the hotel braced for the final confrontation. In the abandoned room, Sarah stood and read aloud from the child's journal. As she spoke the words, the ghosts gathered around her, their faces shifting from sorrow to hope. They listened as if hearing their own voices for the first time in decades. As Sarah read, a bright light filled the room. The ghosts faded slowly, smiling as they vanished. Their souls had finally found peace. Ahmad watched in awe. It was the first time he'd seen the ghosts smile. Sarah and Ahmad left the room, exhausted but relieved. Sunlight streamed through the windows, and the hotel seemed freed from its shroud of darkness. The ghosts were gone, but their memory would remain etched in the hotel's walls. Sarah returned to her room and wrote her final article about the hotel. She didn't mention the ghosts, focusing instead on its history and beauty with a touch of mystery. She knew the true story would remain a secret between her, the hotel, and the spirits now at peace. The next day, Sarah left the hotel. She glanced back one last time, a faint smile on her lips. She carried a secret about a hotel that was anything but ordinary, and spirits who found peace through her. Her journalistic journey had ended, but her encounter with the supernatural had just begun. After Sarah's departure, Ahmad felt a relief he hadn't known for years. The hotel seemed brighter and cleaner, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. He knew the ghosts were gone and peace had returned. Yet the memory of the family would stay with him forever. Even Fatima, the receptionist, seemed happier. She smiled genuinely at guests and spoke freely. The weight of secrecy was gone. She could now live in peace. The hotel was no longer a place of terror but of tranquility. The window of the abandoned room now stood empty. No ghosts, whispers, or screams remained. Yet occasionally, a faint glimmer of light appeared, a reminder of the family who found peace and the hotel that witnessed their story. The hotel, once a place of horror, was now a haven of peace. But the calm felt uncanny, as if the hotel guarded a secret of spirits who once dwelled there, the journalist who uncovered their truth, and a story forever etched in its walls. Sarah returned to her normal life, but the hotel experience changed her forever. She gazed at a photo of the hotel on her computer screen, remembering the whispers, the fear, and the spirits who found peace. This was the most profound story of her life, one she didn't just write but lived. And perhaps one day, she'd return to the Aljaride Europa to see if the spirits remained, or if peace endured.